you very much, Pam and Nick, and my name is Mike Tonks, and we're going to do a section today, Tapas con Tonksy. For those English speakers, that's Tapas with Tonksy, and what we're going to be doing today is we're going to be aligning services with tapas dishes that you get in traditional Spain. So first things first, a little bit of history on tapas. King Alfonso X of Castile is the guy who invented tapas, or so called from the Spanish. What he did was he ate small amounts of food with his wine, and then he made it legal that all the Spanish pubs serve little dishes or tapas with each drink that they drink. So that's a little bit of history on how tapas came about. First things first as well, what we're going to do is we're going to take you around the kitchen. When we take you through the kitchen, you can see, think of that a little bit like a data centre. Yeah? So I'm going to take you around my kitchen. So we have, we have a cooker here, we have a sink over here, and we have a hob over here as well, yeah? So the key point about that is you've got to think in the same way when you're in a cocina, in a Spain or a kitchen, think of the kitchen the same as a data centre for service providers, yeah? Service providers have everything they need to provide a service. You in your kitchen have everything that you need to provide a tapas dish, if that makes sense, yeah? So the first dish we're going to cover today, and we're going to align with a service, is it's pan. Pan can be, it translates in Spanish to bread, and pan can be with con tomate. We can have it with olive oil. Some people have it with balsamic vinegar, but you can be prepared in different ways. But the basic part of the dish is pan. It's a single ingredient. Now the way that we align that is to Veeam SaaS-based data protection, our Office 365 product. It's a single license. It's a very basic service. And as we go through the services, las servicios aquí, what we can see is that we go from the smaller services, a little bit more complicated, till we get to disaster recovery, which we're going to touch on at the end. So the next service, el próxima, is backup as a service, which can be done in lots of different ways. Every service provider does it differently, yeah? That's the key thing about backup as a service. You know, they use different equipment. Some people can put it on premise, they can back up on a customer's premise. Some of those guys actually put the backup as a service in the public cloud itself. And we can kind of align that with a dish, patatas bravas, which translates in Spanish to spicy potatoes, yeah? And the Spanish eat that with a lot of drink, and it's kind of like a starter kind of tapas, but a little bit more advanced than the pan con tomate that we had at the beginning there, yeah? As I say, every service provider does this differently, and I hope that makes a lot of sense, yeah? So that's backup as a service. Moving on to the el final plato is the paella dish. Now in Spain, paella is a national pastime, yeah? Everybody presents it differently. Everybody puts differente ingredientes in it, different ingredients in it, and you know, they all do it in a different way. So if you don't put the right ingredients with the right dish, it can taste not right. I know Jamie Oliver, a very good colleague of mine, got into a lot of trouble with tapas, you know, when he was doing it, and the Spanish, you know, have never forgiven him for it, yeah? So disaster recovery as a service can be done in lots of different ways. You can have different equipment that you use for it. From a Veeam perspective, we have VBR, we have the Veeam Cloud Connect replication side of things, we have the Veeam Service Provider console part of that works as well. And for a service provider's perspective, he also has standby equipment that he needs for that, to be able to fail over depending on the different type of disasters that they're encountering, yeah? So hopefully, as we hand back to Pam and Nick, that's been very informative in how we align basic services with tapas dishes, to give you an idea of What the most simplest one is, this one here, Office 365, or our SaaS-based application here, aligning to PAM. We've got the second-based service, backup as a service, which we do with VBR, we do with our Veeam Service Provider console and Veeam Cloud Connect backup product, which aligns very much to Tapas Bravas, which is here. And finally, with our more complicated service for a service provider to provide, we've got our disaster recovery as a service, which we align to our Paella, which is a little bit more of a complicated dish. And hopefully that quick 5 minutes with Tapas with Tonks has been very useful for you today. If you've got any questions, I'm sure that Pam and Nick can answer some of those for you. Thank you very much, and adios.